Hello and welcome to WNL Network Training Academy's podcast. My name is Karen Fisher and I'm so happy to have you with us today. In studio with me, I have Carl Schultz. He is a life coach with over 25 years of experience. He has coached over 3,000 individuals and over 100 companies. Carl, thank you so much for being in the studio today.
Karen, it's a pleasure. It's an awesome privilege to be with you this morning.
Let's jump straight into it. So what inspired you to become a life coach?
You know what? I started my own business many years ago, and in running my own business, I was helping other people start their businesses up. I was like, they'd come to me for advice and I'd sit them down and help them. And then I realized, but wow, I'm quite good at that and I enjoy that. So I started coaching, helping guys set up businesses, helping them sort out things, goal setting, all that kind of stuff. And I just loved it. And that's been more than 25 years ago.
And this is something that you really enjoy doing. I can remember you said that do something that you really want to do. And with you, it's sitting with a friend and having a cup of coffee, right?
Absolutely. Yes, that comes from the book. Ken Blanchard wrote a book called The Big Bucks. And in this book, he says, if you want to make the big bucks in life, you've got to find that one thing that you absolutely love doing and then figure out who's going to pay you a lot of money to do that. And I love that. I love sitting with people, having coffee with them and talking about their future and helping them inspire them, helping them set goals and helping them build that bridge towards achieving their goals. And having coffee, of course.
Yes, and like we're doing right now. Yes,
yeah, and awesome. The beauty about coaching is you get paid for doing that as well.
Absolutely.
Which is cool.
And what do you believe are the fundamentals of life coaching?
I think the fundamentals are that you need to be able to listen. You need to be able to listen and also see behind the veil. So to be able to see what's really going on when you're listening to someone speak. Because often someone would be speaking to you and there's underlying stuff that's happening, and you can pick up on what's happening. What are their frustrations? What's stopping them from moving forward? Where do they really want to be? Why aren't they where they're supposed to be? And those kind of things. And with coaching, you can help them get there.
Yes, and in saying that, a lot of people don't necessarily know what their goals are. So how do you go about helping these individuals identify what their goals are?
You know what? Most people are stuck in life. They're stuck in their circle, in their people call it a comfort zone, but it's not actually a comfort zone because for some people it's very uncomfortable. But they're stuck in a familiar zone. And they're scared to move outside of that familiar zone. So when you ask questions and you probe them and you watch their behavior, you watch the passion, you know, when I'm talking to you about something, I can quickly pick up what you're passionate about. And if I steer the questions down that route, I can unlock where you should be and where you're actually wanting to be, and then help you build a bridge to get there.
And that familiar zone, it's not a comfort zone, like you say, it's uncomfortable at times, but that familiar zone. And what do you think are the challenges that people face to overcome that familiar zone and embrace the change? Because obviously if they want to reach their particular goal, changes need to be made. So what do you think are the common challenges?
I think that the biggest challenge for most people is self-belief. So to be able to trust yourself, and believe in yourself that you have a purpose. There's a specific thing that you're good at, that you need to be doing, that you are here for, that you were created for. It's your purpose, your life purpose. And if I can trust myself to say, I'm going to figure out what that is. I'm going to go in that direction. I'm going to build myself and equip myself in that space, and then I'm going to move forward.
Yeah. And how do you help these clients overcome these obstacles and challenges and help them to stay motivated?
It is a process, and for some people it happens quicker than for other people. I think the biggest, so let's look at a big picture. So the bigger picture is to be able to take somebody, try and unlock within their mind a picture of their better tomorrow. So to help them get a vision for themselves, help them dream, help them think about where they'd like to be, where they see themselves. So if I can help you unlock that picture and start to dream, Then we look at where you currently are. So where are you at the moment? And what do you need in place to be able to get you there in terms of skills, in terms of help, partnerships, stuff you're needing to learn. A coach, you need a coach to help take you there. And then we build those steps, those action steps, we put it into a timeline, and off we go, heading in that direction.
And would you say in that that goal setting is one of the important roles that coaches play?
Yeah, it's a crucial role. They say a dream without a goal is a nightmare. Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. So many people have dreams. And in fact, all people have dreams. We start off in life with these dreams. I remember when I was 5 years old, the dreams that I had as a 5-year-old kid. But society comes around you. Those who influence you come around you, teachers, parents, preachers, whoever, and they start to form you. They start to almost conform you to a normal. So normal looks like this. And then you start to fit yourself into that picture of what other people think normal is. And you suppress your dreams. You stop dreaming. You stop thinking about that. And so if we can get you back to that point where I'm starting to dream again, I'm starting to think about the things I enjoy, the things that give me fulfillment, that give me meaning in life. And then I can start to identify how I can start doing more of those things and equip myself in that space and move into that space.
And so you say that mindset is also a very important role when it comes to personal growth, because I believe that, when people, like you said, when people grow up in a certain environment, if they have never seen something bigger, they won't know how to dream bigger. So you would say that, so how does mindset impact personal growth, and how do you work with the clients to develop a positive mindset?
So when you think about mindset, I always like to use the phrase, I remember the first time I ever got into an aeroplane and I flew overseas. Now, I'd lived a very sheltered life in the rural areas, so I wasn't exposed to much. And the first time I flew overseas, the aeroplane had a camera, or they had a screen in front of your seat, and there was a camera at the bottom of the plane. And you could actually watch as the plane flies over. You could see the land beneath. And we were flying over Africa on the way to Dubai. And I remember the thought coming into my mind that you are only as big as the world you've been exposed to. So many people have only been exposed to a very small world. And as a coach, if I can unlock if I can expose you to more stuff, to thoughts, to ideas, once your mind's been stretched by those thoughts and those ideas, it can't go back to its old way.
Absolutely. And then can you provide examples of how communication strategies that have been particularly impactful? So some communication strategies that you implement.
Communication, I think as a coach, you develop the skill of communicating. And when you think about communication, we think about speaking, we think about body language, we think about the stuff that we project outwards. But as a coach, communication is all about listening. So it almost sounds the wrong way around. So the skill of being able to listen and observe and be fully present in the moment. In other words, I'm listening to you and I'm present, and I'm watching your eyes, I'm watching your body language, I'm seeing the expressions on your face, I'm hearing your words, but I'm also hearing the stuff that's happening behind the words, the emotions that are coming through. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say next. I'm not thinking about the route that I'm taking you down, or my coaching model that I'm going to use with you, but I'm actually fully present in the moment, hearing you. And once I've heard you, I spend time to reflect on what you've said, and then I communicate back.
And like you said, it's a skill that you need to develop. So when you first started, I would like to know, honestly, how was your communication? Was it more of I have to follow this model? Because obviously as time goes on, as 25 years pass, you have really refined this. But in the beginning, how was it? Was it a little bit awkward, or did you jump straight into it?
I'll, in the beginning, I was so excited about all the stuff that I'd learned that I wanted to give you everything I've learned in one session. So I would hardly leave any space for you to talk. I would be so excited about the model and this is what we're going to do and here and this is how this works and this is how that works, that I wasn't in the moment. And for a long time I had to learn to actually listen, because the coach, he would walk away thinking, but I've got the tools now, I've got all of this knowledge, but you still haven't heard me, you still don't understand where I am. So they would come back and it would be yes but, and they would yes but this and yes but that, and I'd think, no, don't yes but me, just do what I'm telling you. And so yes, it was a lot has changed since then. I feel sorry for my first few clients.
Shame, but yeah, they were the guinea pigs, but we're glad that we have you now, a refined coach. And so you say that effective communication and active listening plays a crucial role in life coaching. So can you just tell me, how would you help a client become more self-aware? Because I believe that I know myself inside out. I was born me, and I know my thoughts. But sometimes we mask certain things and we're not really self-aware. So can you share some tips on how our viewers can also become self-aware?
So I think one's got to really listen to what's going on around you, pay attention to what's going on around you. I remember sitting with a client once, and they were so frustrated because they had problems in the workplace. They were in a senior position, in a leadership position. And they were telling me about how all these people that work for them, that are part of their team, are not doing their job and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I felt almost like I had to restrain myself, because the common denominator in all those problems was the person who I was coaching, the leader. They were the common denominator. So if John Maxwell talks about the Bob principle, and he says if Bob's got a problem with everybody, then Bob is the problem. So, and that was the problem with my client. And through asking them questions and asking them to look around some of the common threads of what's happening, we can start to see, but hang on a minute, maybe I am the problem. I remember way back in those early days, I was sitting and I was frustrated, and I said to the Lord the one day, I said, Lord, I'm surrounded by all these selfish guys that are all idiots. And I'm sorry, I don't mean that in an ugly way, but I was really frustrated with all these people around me with all of their problems, and they were all, and they were all my age. And then I read the John Maxwell book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, where he talks about the Bob principle. But another principle he talks about there is the law of magnetism. And he says, you are what you attract what you are. And I thought, okay, Lord, so if I'm surrounded by idiots, then maybe I'm also one of those. And I really had to look at myself and say, okay, so what am I saying? What is coming out of my mouth all the time? What am I confessing all the time? What am I talking about all the time? What are the emotions that I'm feeling all the time? Am I speaking negative stuff over myself all the time? Am I expecting the worst to happen all the time? Am I, when in my communication with other people, is there a thread that's happening here in my behavior? And then I started to pick up on that and say, okay, so if I want a different outcome, I've got to look at the actions, I've got to look at my emotions, my thoughts, and I've got to start changing that. So when we talk about self-awareness, pay attention to what's happening around you, who's around you, what are you constantly talking about, what are you constantly feeling, what are those emotions, and then let's see how we can change that, how we can start maybe cutting off some people or spending less time with some people and start shifting towards spending more time with other people. It's good to have a coach, because a coach is somebody who can identify blind spots. They can tell you about blind spots, things that you don't see. So there are a lot of things about myself that I don't see. but I have a coach who can tell me about those things. They can observe those things in spending time with me. So, yeah, self-awareness it's a very complicated concept. But if you just pay attention, if you just sit back and listen and look around you, what's happening around you, what are the cycles that keep repeating themselves, and then see how we can change that. How do I break that cycle? How do I shift my expectations and shift just that familiar zone that I'm in, get into a different zone that might not be familiar?
Yeah, and I think that getting into that, creating that shift and moving away from those certain things and those certain people are holding you back from where you want to be, that takes so much guts.
It does.
So please share with us, how would you, the steps that you would give us to build that self-confidence, to make those changes?
So there's a challenge that I give all my clients, and I talk about it often, and it's 3 things that I challenge you to do. Number 1, I challenge you to at least once a month have a meeting with a master. So meet with a master. So pick somebody from your circle, from your environment, someone that you exposed to, or that you know, or that you've been introduced to, who you consider to be a master, someone you can learn from. And meet with someone like that every month. Take them for coffee, for breakfast, for dinner, whatever you can afford. If it's sitting down with them in their office, but have a meeting with somebody like that once a month, where you go in prepared. Go and ask them a few questions. Formulate 1 or 2 or 3 questions that you can ask them, like, how did you get to where you were? What were some of your frustrations? What are some of the things you've dealt with? What if you could go back and change one thing that you've done, what would that be? Those kind of things. So now you're forcing yourself to meet with somebody who's not on your level. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is to research a sage. So a sage is somebody who's achieved incredible things. So someone that you wouldn't be able to physically meet. So read a biography of someone. Choose an actor or an artist or a business person, or somebody who you look up to, or who looks like they're interesting, a politician, a leader, a global person, an icon, and go and research them. Go onto YouTube, go onto Google, find stuff about them, interviews, articles they've written. There might even be a movie about the person. I love those kind of things. And then just watch how they started and where they started and how they got to where they were. And then the third challenge is to study a thesis. So it's meet with a master, research a sage, and study a thesis. Now, a thesis is like a book. When you go to university and you going to get your doctorate, you would be required to write a thesis. So that's kind of like a book. So read a book. That's like in general. So pick 1 book a month, a self-help book, not a novel. A self-help.
Thank you for specifying.
And go and read that book. And guys, there are so many secondhand bookshops out there. I mean, you must see the books that you find in these secondhand bookshops for 25 Rand or 30 Rand or $50. Go and buy a self-help book and just read 1 book a month. And then out of that book, write 3 or 4 or 5 thoughts or concepts or teachings that you're taking with you from that. So if you do that every month, I guarantee you'll be so stretched and so inspired, you won't be able to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we were going to discuss is ongoing learning and growth. And I think that is just, so remarkable. It does take some time, but we do need to invest time in ourselves in order to grow. And then something I feel that a lot of us struggle with, the balancing our personal and professional lives. Can you give us some tips on how we can get that right? Because we want to be thriving in the workplace, but we also want to have a healthy relationship with our kids, with our husbands, and so on. So can you just give us a few tips on that?
So so in coaching, you'll hear a lot of people talk about a balanced life and a balanced wheel, and having this balanced life where you've got this this wheel with all these different spokes and all these areas of life, and we're going to work on each one of those areas so that we have a nice round wheel. I don't believe in that concept. In our coaching model, we use a thing called symphony of balance. Now, a symphony of balance is exactly what it sounds like, a symphony. It's making music. Think about an orchestra or a band that makes music. Every instrument doesn't have the same volume and the same tempo and the same amount of time within music. There's different instruments feature in different ways. And so in life as well, you want to make music. So there's certain things in your life that you enjoy more than other things. I've got a friend who loves cycling, and you'll know him, JP. And he just spends so much time cycling because that's what he loves. Now, if he had to take cycling and reduce that so that he can increase another area of life, it would be out of balance. He wouldn't make music. He wouldn't be who he was. So in saying that, a balanced life or a symphony of balance is where you figure out what's important to you, what's meaningful for you, what you enjoy, what fulfills you, and you enjoy that. You enjoy life. You enjoy making music because it makes you a better person. The danger is that we would neglect certain areas. So there are three areas in which we play a role in life. We play a role in the home, you play a role in the marketplace, and you play a role in the world. At home, you would be a father, a mother, a wife, a husband, a daughter, a son, a brother, a sister. So there's a certain role that you play in the home, and there's roles that you play in the marketplace. You might be a business owner or a director, or if you're employed, you might work somewhere. But in the marketplace, you have roles that you fulfill. And then in the world, you have roles. A friend, maybe you're involved in the church or in your community, and there are those roles. And so it's important for us to be able to identify the roles and then to say, right, as a father, what is the role that I'm wanting to play? As a father, I exist to lead my children in the right way, or I exist to be an example to my children, those kind of things. So when you start defining your roles and say, okay, so I am me, I'm a symphony, I'm making music, and these are the areas that I have roles to fulfill, and I'm defining those roles, and I'm making sure that in my mind I'm fulfilling the role that I want to fulfill. What do I want to look like as a father? What do I want to look like as an employer? What do I want to look like in the community as a friend? And I'm making music around that area. And I'm not worried about this perfectly round, balanced life where all of these spokes are, equally rounded. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. It makes sense. Thank you so much for those tips. And I know that you have a life coaching course that you run at WNL Academy, and I'm part of that, and I'm enjoying it so much. I just want you to elaborate. There's so many different life coaching courses out there. What should people be looking out for when choosing a life coaching course?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say, I think during lockdown and the economic crisis that we're sitting in at the moment, a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of businesses have closed down, and so there are a lot of people out there who are lost. And then you've got these social media platforms that are dangling carrots in front of everybody. Become a consultant, become a life coach, become a social media marketing agent, and they're making a lot of money out of people buying those courses to become whatever the carrot is that they've hung in front of them. And so we've seen a lot of this stuff happening. Become a life coach in a weekend. Do a weekend course and you become a certified life coach. And here's the honest truth. You cannot become a life coach without practical experience. So you guys know from the course that we do, we talk about being credentialed. In other words, being recognized as a coach. And there's only one body in South Africa that can recognize you, or that governs the coaching environment, and they will only recognize you as a coach if you've got a minimum amount of hours, and I think it's about 120 hours of coaching. And so if you're going to do a weekend course on becoming a coach, how can you qualify as a coach if you haven't had that practical experience? So a lot of these courses are it's theory, and it's quick stuff, and you go through the theory and then you're expected to be a life coach.
And there's no practical work included. Yes, so please tell us more about the life coaching course that you head up at WNL Academy.
So what we've done is we've taken our coaching course, and when we designed the course to fulfill three kind of criteria: the theory part of things, the credentialing part of things. So we've got live sessions. So theory is your manual and everything that you're going through with regards to understanding the concept of life coaching. What does life coaching mean, and what are all these concepts? Then the practical side, that's the online training that we do, and in the practical stuff we do live lectures, and we also give you examples of coaching, like demo coaching. We analyze what happens behind the scenes when you're coaching, and all of those live sessions are based on the coaching competencies that you will be measured by when you are credentialed by a body like the Coaching and Mentoring Association of South Africa, a recognized body. And then we also have the other side of thing, which is the practical assignments. And our practical assignments involve a lot of research, a lot of homework, figuring out your own method of coaching, understanding the different coaching models, so that at the end of the day, you're able to design your coaching models so that they fit your personality, they fit your skills, your strengths, your preferences. There are hundreds of different areas that you can specialize in as a coach. And so if you understand what the theory is, you understand what the criteria is that you're going to be measured by, and you understand how to do the research and to build your own coaching models, I think then you're set to go. And that's what we try to do with our coaching course, is to give you the tools to be able to do all of that. We've also created a community where we can help one another, where you can do some practical coaching and get some of that practical experience within that. So I hope that kind of covers what.
Absolutely.
What you're getting.
And what will individuals be able to do once they have completed this course? Can they open up their own practice, or what can they do with this course?
So you'll be a coach. You'll be able to coach, whether you decide to open your own practice. We touch on the business side of coaching as well, giving you some of the tools in order to help you set up your own business as well. I'm a business coach, so we've brought in that business aspect of setting up your own business. But as a credentialed coach or a qualified coach, you can also consult. So you can sell your services to other service providers. So there are many corporates out there who employ coaches. They contract coaches in to do specific work for them. You'll be able to do that. So you could coach within your workplace. You could coach privately. You could set up your own coaching practice, or you can consult to corporates or to other service providers that provide coaching to corporates.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Carl, for being with us today and shedding so much light on life coaching and the course that we are having at WNL Academy. And thank you so much for being with us today. We are so happy that you've stayed with us this far, and we hope that you have taken away some valuable lessons. If you would like to find out more about this life coaching course, please go to our website, www.wnlacademy.com, and we will see you again soon.